Happy Tuesday evening, everybody, and welcome to the Non-Boss Continuum. And tonight with me, I have the lovely ladies of the Blondes and Booze. I've got Krista
Hey,
and
everybody.
Brandi. So, how are
How
you
are you?
ladies doing?
We are good. We are
Oh,
really good.
yeah,
We are
yeah, really
staying
good.
busy.
Go ahead, Kristen.
I just said staying busy. We've just had a few events and things we've been doing, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
life.
yeah. I mean, I know that you guys have been kind of doing a lot of stuff in the field too. So,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
then you've got how many shows are you guys doing a week? Is it 2 shows a week?
So Brandy and I each do three. She
Oh,
does
okay.
Monday nights with Tex and Texas Front Porch. And
Hmm.
then I do Thursday afternoon with brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And then we have our Thursday night show and our Friday night show, Blondes and Booze. So, yeah.
Busy ladies.
Yep.
Busy.
And then here
Yes.
we are on Tuesday night with you. See?
I know. And I really appreciate it very much. And because I know because I see you guys like all the time. You guys like every night. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are they even free on a Tuesday night?
Well, it's an honor to be here. We're glad to be here for sure.
Oh, thank you. And it's an honor
Yes,
for you guys to be here because
absolutely.
I mean, I love the fact that you guys are an all lady gang. You know what I mean? Like you guys are a team of ladies. It's sometimes they always think us ladies are going to be catty. Generally, we're
Yeah.
not. I don't know why we
No,
get that bad rap, but
exactly.
you know,
I get what you're saying. We're friends outside of this. Fortunately, we live close enough, we can hang out outside of this. So
oh
that's what
yeah,
makes it
so
good.
you
Yeah,
get to
for sure.
bond outside of the whole like show
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
And we do a lot of events and, we go together and we bunk together. So she's just my
Mhm.
sister from another mother.
That's so great.
That's
That
it.
is so great.
Yeah.
So
That's
where
my
do you guys do you guys go on location and do event type stuff and then you also do like private stuff? Do you help people?
Oh,
You guys
yeah, most
kind of both
definitely.
things?
That's actually how I personally got started into the paranormal. I joined a team out of St. Louis and did private cases, and then
Mhm.
we also would do cases, not cases, but at events where we charged people money. But however, we didn't pocket that money. 100% of that money went back to that location for historic preservation.
Right.
So, and I'm big about that, because if our history's gone and we have nothing to leave for our youth. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what we do. And now with doing Blondes and Booze, we have our own events coming up, and then we're still part of a paranormal team also, Haunted Souls. So we've got events with them too.
And so is Haunted Souls um like they're like a separate team or it's just
Yeah, they're
they're
separate
separate?
from Brandy and I. Yeah.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
Brandy and I are both members of that team. So,
I see.
their events are separate from Blondes and Booze.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and we do a lot of private cases through them. That's where
Yeah,
most of the private stuff comes from. Yeah,
right.
and
Brandy,
that and
and
that's
so.
how
So
did
not
you get
only do
into
we have
all of
our
this,
own
Brandy?
schedule. Yeah, I was going to say, not only do we have our own schedule, then we have our paranormal team schedule. Plus, kids and family. That
I don't
we're
know.
pretty busy.
Well, us ladies, we do have a little bit up on the guys. We do know how to multitask, I think, a little bit
Mhm.
better. Just a itty
Yeah,
bit.
Just a little.
Just a little.
yeah,
Just a little.
just a little
So
bit.
yeah, so tell me, I want you to tell me one of the locations that stands out the most in your mind for like the most activity that you guys have been to.
I'll let Brandy go first since I've been running my mouth, and then I'll answer.
Okay, Miss Brandy.
I'm going to say that mine would be Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Tennessee would probably be one of my top five. One of my
Okay.
top
Mhm.
five. That place was just absolutely just amazing. It didn't matter what building you were in, even if you were walking outside, there was always something going on. Um,
Wow.
to where you would hear someone whistling as if they were walking and just minding their own business. They were whistling, footsteps, knocks. I saw a full-bodied apparition there. Um, it was just amazing to me. I think that's the
Mhm.
most amazing place. Like I said, my top five, might be even my top three.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And what about you, Krista?
I would say mine's probably the Ray County Museum in Richmond, Missouri. And I don't know if it's because a very good friend of mine is a curator there, so I'm there
Mhm,
so much, and
mhm,
I've witnessed so much. But it's super active. Everything from full-bodied apparitions to embodied voices and just everything. We've had bad
wow.
stuff happen there, and then you've got a truly a child ghost that is there, and so it's just I don't know if it's because I know them, the
Mhm,
spirits that are there, and
right.
and they're comfortable with me, so they do come out and they will interact with me.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why that's my favorite, but that's I would say one of my top 3 also.
And
Yeah.
what kind of a place is that? It's a museum?
It is a museum now. It started out as a poor farm, and
Mhm.
it was built in, I believe it was 1910, and then it in the 40s, it became a nursing home. And then
Mhm.
I believe it was a nursing home up until the mid 70s. And then the county bought it and opened
Right.
it up as a museum.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a theory. I mean, there is a theory regarding paranormal activity being very active and very I don't know. I'm at a loss for the word I'm trying to think right now, but it's like concentrated is what I was gonna say. Um,
Hmm.
Concentrated in certain areas that are transitional places,
Yeah.
hospitals, prisons, rehab
Yeah.
centers, like you said, like a poor farm,
Mhm.
sanitariums,
Oh, yeah.
things like that. Even bridges, because bridges are also transitional, and so many people do tend to commit suicide and jumping off
Right.
bridges and that. But there's a book called The Trickster and the Paranormal, and it talks about these transitional places, and that a lot of the people that are in these transitional places, prisons and hospitals and things like that, and
Hmm.
sanitariums, they are marginalized people and with a lot of issues and a lot of stress and a lot of problems and a lot of
Yeah.
things going on in their lives during the
Hmm.
time that they're in these transitional places. So
Yeah.
when I learned about that, I thought, this is a very interesting concept. And then when I had Morgan Knudsen on my show, she kind of talked about that she's done a
Hmm.
lot of cases where the people think their home is haunted, but what's going on in their lives is either attracting these things
Right.
or it's causing some of these things.
Hmm. I would
So
agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting theory. Um, and have you guys kind of is that how you guys are feeling too? Like it's those types of places that you're seeing the most activity in?
For me, I would say yes. Just the museum is one, and then another place I would say too is Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa.
Hmm.
Um, and that too was it. I believe it was like a old hotel, and then it turned into a nursing home, and so same thing, with that
Yeah.
place too. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
You too, Brandy?
I don't know. Everything's been pretty interesting for me lately. I mean, I've talked to Krista in depth about this, and I'll go ahead and tell you this little story. So it was geez, it was last week or the week before, Chris. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, I'm driving to work. I go to work very early in the morning. I would say it was about 4:30. So I'm driving and I turn the corner like I'm going into town, and I turn on the street. Now the houses are not even close to the road. There's no restaurant There's nothing around. Everything is closed. But I seen a black figure coming up to the road as if it were going to cross. So I'm
Hmm.
back at the road to make sure I stay on the road. And then the next thing you know, I look back over and this shadow person is completely gone. There's nowhere for them to go. Nothing.
And
They
they're
were just completely gone.
disappeared.
But the weird thing was is that yeah, they're just gone. And then the weird thing was is then I got a smell in my car of like that oil, like when you heat it up and it's getting really hot to almost like it's almost burning and it has that
Yeah.
smell. It stayed with
Mhm.
me for almost a half a mile and then it was gone. Just gone.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, uh, did they jump in my car, go for a ride down the road? I'm not sure what
Right.
happened there. But then 2 days later, I come home and I'm getting ready to go to bed. And you know how that moment where you're like, okay, I'm tired, I'm gonna sleep. You turn over and your body just relaxes. I heard a male
Mhm.
voice say my name as clear as a bell, as if it were standing right next to me in my ear.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I don't know what's
I
going
got
on.
chills.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
know
god.
what's going on. This is the ongoing saga of my life here, and so I haven't had anything happen since, but it's only been about a week. So
Yeah.
I think they just came say hi, hang around, see, and then leave. But, we went to Michigan, Krista and I, we went to Michigan, and this was after the whole full-bodied apparition thing there on the street, the shadow person, I want to say shadow person. And we go to Michigan, and then Krista's in her room, and tell her, Krista, what happened in your room?
So I wasn't even thinking, and I've apologized to Letitia Nunnally because they're cryptid people. They're not
Mhm.
paranormal people. And she tagged along with Brandy and I, and she and I shared a room. And we just laid down, and we heard this loud crash in our hotel room. And I got up and I looked at the end of the bed. I'm like, Letitia, there is nothing down here. And so
Yeah.
she was kind of getting a little freaked out. So then laid back down. It was probably a good 10 minutes later. It happened again in our hotel room. And so I
Oh
got
my
up and I
god.
looked. Absolutely nothing fell. Nothing. But it was loud, like something just crashed. And poor Letitia, I I've slept in haunted locations, so it doesn't bother me. I can tune them out.
Yeah.
And Letitia was up all night. God bless her soul. I told her, I said, you should have woke me up. She goes, I was so scared. I apologize to her because it's just, I'm used to sleeping in these kind of places, and she's not at all. And so, yeah, I don't know if it was Brandy's friend or what, but I have no idea.
Right, because I saw the shadow person 2 days before that and had that experience. And then 2 days later, she had her experience. And then the day after that is when I heard the whisper in my ear when I'm at home. So I'm wondering if I had something, just hanging around for a little while. Of course, nothing's happened
Right.
since then, but
Yeah,
I'm like,
nothing for
well,
me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, her and
However,
I
however,
mean, there's been many a times where you can find us sleeping in a corner. It's just, we'll be at a haunted location, the whole place is abandoned, things are falling in, and we're just like, okay, I got to take a nap. Just give me 20 minutes, we just go to sleep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Give me a cat nap. Hold on. Time
Well,
out. Put it
I was
put it
Just
on
teasing
one.
pause.
I was teasing Brandy because at that in Michigan we were with John Zaffis, and he
Yeah.
was right next to us, and I was like, well, maybe he brought us something, or who knows? He collects all that stuff, so
Yeah, we were blaming
Yeah.
John Zappis all day.
Yeah, yeah. So have you guys been to the Conjuring house?
Yes.
Brandy has.
Yes, I stayed the night there. Yeah, I sure did. Um, it wasn't, how should I say, it didn't feel foreboding. It didn't have that feel like
Mhm.
I shouldn't be there. I mean, it
Right.
felt really warm and comfortable. Um, did I hear weird things? Absolutely. I mean, I had all my equipment going off here, there, everywhere, spirit boxes, you name it. They were talking. And I mean, it was as if you were actually having a conversation with somebody, because we were using the spirit box, and one of the guys with us said, um, you're probably tired of everybody asking the same old questions. He goes, so what's your favorite month? And then the spirit box said January. And he says, January. He says, well, that's my birth month. And then you hear it say, what day? So, I mean, it was actually, you
Wow.
were having conversations. I mean, for me,
Intelligent
that was
and
probably the best
yeah,
yeah, that was the
intelligent.
best I've ever
Absolutely.
heard a spirit box work ever. The most crazy thing that had happened with staying in the Conjuring house is all the bedrooms are upstairs, and it
Mhm.
reminds me of kind of like a shotgun house where you can look through all the doors, and all the
Right.
bedrooms are lined up. Well, two were sleeping
Long
in the
and narrow.
right, two were sleeping in the first one, and me and my
Mhm.
friend, she and I were sleeping in the second one, and then her son and his wife were sleeping in the third one. Well, I heard at about 5:30 in the morning, I heard somebody running downstairs in the kitchen. They were just running right across the floor, and I sat up and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And so I just like, okay, I just laid back down. I started to go back to sleep, and then I heard it again, but it woke up my friend too. And we both look at each other, and she says,
Oh,
"Do you hear that?" I
man.
said, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you getting up?" I said, "Yeah." So we picked up all of our equipment and we started ghost hunting right there. Just got everything out. Went from
Okay.
started down the basement, worked our way up. And her son said that while we were gone, he thought we came in there because he heard footsteps come to the door and say, well, it was a female voice, says, "Are you ready to go?" But we were all the way
Wow.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, that place is
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, if you ever get a chance to, I recommend it 100%. I really, really do. And it's great with just, 4 to 6
I don't
people.
know
That's
how
all you need. And they had a
no,
phantom
I was
cat.
gonna
We kept
say,
hearing a
I
cat.
don't know if I'm not sure if I could do it, like, ooh, the protections you need to do just
Right.
to go to that pl I mean, because I mean, from what I understand, it's not just like the house or the museum. I mean, it's there's
The yard.
cryptids, there's,
Yep.
like, all kinds of things going on at that place, like,
Hmm.
Well,
crazy things.
I'll let you in on a little secret too. If you walk outside in the yard, you'll see like little green stakes. Now, these little green stakes represent bodies that are buried in it. Now,
Oh,
they're not sure how many, but they did the ground scan and
yeah.
they see them in there, but they cannot have the historical society come out, because once the historical society starts digging and finding these bodies, they will keep digging. And unfortunately, the house may come into jeopardy and they will take down the house because of the bodies.
'Cause then it's kind of like
So they're
it's
just
either a
staked out.
crime s yeah, because it's either a crime scene or an archaeological kind of like a
Right.
situation, right? Like a dig that they
Yep.
gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got pictures of it. It's just a little green stake in the ground. It's got a little flag, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And then if you walk out towards the back of the property, there is a cemetery also back there. But the day that we went, unfortunately, it rained so bad. It was like a monsoon, and it was
Oh
so
my god.
muddy and flooded out there. You couldn't get there. But
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely, I
Wow.
And see,
recommend that one.
me personally, I have no desire to go, only because I believe I've dealt with some true demonic cases,
Mhm.
and you don't go looking for them. And knowing that something demonic, that's not something I want to just go do for fun. I don't knock
Right.
anybody who does. I don't knock Brandy for doing that. That's just what she
Yeah.
wants to do. But for me personally, I have no desire to go there
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah.
I
It's kind of hard when
Hmm.
it's like you take a risk. You really do.
Hmm.
You do take a
Yeah.
risk
Yep.
because you
100%.
because you can still put up protections. You can
Hmm.
still, command everything to stay and not go with you or not attach to you or to any of
Mhm.
your items or what, like, you can do all of that and still have that problem.
Yep.
Right,
So,
right. Yes, you can. But
yeah.
I'm the type of person that I want to know if this is what, because you hear the stories and then, they have the movies that come out and,
Mhm.
I want to know, is it all that? Is it, because so much stuff is embellished these days on these stories. And I'm like, is it really like that? So I'm the person that goes, okay, I'm going to pack my bags. Let's go find out. That's,
Right.
yeah, that's what I do.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
you're like, "I'm gonna test it. I wanna know. I wanna know for myself."
Yeah. Yeah. I want to
Mhm.
know.
And Krista and I are like, "Okay, Brandy, send us a postcard."
Yep. Yep.
She's yeah, she's
Exactly.
like, "So, well, you can post some video or send me the video." I'm like, "Sure, no
Yep.
problem. I can do that."
Yeah.
You can live right through her experience, right, Krista?
Right. Exactly. Yep. I just, I've dealt and I've seen what true demons do.
Mm,
And I've been involved with some of them, and to go look for that is just not my cup of tea. Now, however, would I help another potentially demonic case? Yes, I would. But
yeah,
I'm not going looking for myself. I'm going to help someone. So if
right,
it's done that way, I'm okay with that, you
right,
know. But
right.
just to go do it for fun, no.
Yeah, I mean, I've kinda had I've only had kind of one experience. I
Mhm.
can't I think it was a demon. I don't know. It tried to jump me.
Mhm.
And I was running I was running the spirit box, and literally I felt the negativity come in the room. I felt it come out of one room and then and
Mhm.
come into the room where we were at. It's gonna be it'll be in Matt's film. Um, and I literally said, I said, "Does something negative just come into the room?" And then it just comes across the spirit box, demon. And
Mhm.
then I felt like this like ice cold, I don't know. I can't really say it was a hand, but it was like all of a sudden the calf of my left leg got ice cold, and then it just started climbing up my body slowly,
Mhm.
and it got to like right about in here, and I realized what was happening, and I was like, "Whoa." I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I was like, like telling it, "No, you can't do this to me." Da 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 da. It stopped, and then it said, "Oh, the spirit box," and we all know that they don't curse, and it said, "F you, swine."
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, "Okay, that was a little crazy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Like,
speaking of a spirit box, now Krista can agree with me. Tri-County truck stop here in Missouri. You get some very colorful people. I'm just going to say it that way, that like to
mhm.
use cuss words, and you get called pretty much every name in the book there. So you're like, this
However,
is not
I do believe
coming
though that
over the radio.
Tri-County Truck Stop though does have a demonic entity there in the basement.
Wow. Again, another
It definitely
transitional
has
place.
something.
Right. Yep.
Another
Mhm.
transitional
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. And what's really funny, that place is known
Mhm.
for, it was the very first truck stop on Route 66. And
Uh-huh.
Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe both ate there, not together, but they both ate there. So that's kind of a cool bit of history about the
Mm.
place, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, because you never know with like what you're really coming in contact with and what could
yep.
possibly be there when they
Yeah.
are because they are these transitional places. It could be
Mhm.
anyone from any walk of life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
wow,
And then, Marty, a
crazy.
question for you. When you, that demonic type entity, like, you said you felt the negativity come in the room.
Yeah.
Did your body react in a different way than it does with just like a regular ghost? Or for me, it does. And that's how I know that it's a true, like, demonic
True.
entity
Yeah.
without doing the test on the person, you
Well,
know?
I mean, I can always tell if it's tell if the energy is negative or like, neutral or, like kind or loving. Like I can always tell the
Mhm.
energy. And it was like I just knew it. Like Matt and I also we had been to this particular place one other time previous to that, and we got they were what they were trying to do, the team that night, they were trying to do the Estes method,
Mhm.
and Matt and I were sitting, the girl was sitting, it's they call it the devil's chair, and it's a rocking chair that just somehow showed up in the house. They don't know really where it came from. But on the back of it, it's like the face of a devil, the devil, like
Wow.
Oh,
carved into it. So
Wow.
she was sitting in that chair. I'm actually going to put this on my channel in the next couple weeks. I'm learning how to do all this stuff, guys. So it's taking
Yep.
me a little time, but I'm getting there. But Matt and I was sitting down, Matt was standing up, and Matt actually had the audio recorder, and I just was kind of filming her with my phone.
Yeah.
And so they were literally outside the building asking her questions, but you can hear them ask questions and nothing. She wasn't getting anything. She kept saying that she was hearing like classical music and things like that. She wasn't really getting any responses.
Yeah.
And but to the person outside that was asking the questions, you just heard this real deep, breathy moan. It was like, like
Mhm.
just like that. It was so creepy. So the first two I heard in real time. He had the audio recorder going and he had the like earphones on. And the first when it happened, we both were like, "Did you hear that?" Like, "Oh my god." Nobody else heard it. But then later that night after the investigation was over, Matt goes to check the audio and there were 11 of the exact same responses. There were 11 of them.
Wow.
wow.
It was
Wow.
crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was
Wow.
That is
crazy. And
crazy.
nobody else heard them. Nobody else heard them. Nobody else's equipment caught them. It was only me and Matt. Now on the cell phone video that I'm gonna put on my channel, you hear, I think there's I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 that you can clearly hear on just with my cell phone.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
I can feel, if it's, good or bad or that
mhm.
kind of thing. But I
Yeah.
don't necessarily always know if it's demonic.
Yeah.
That To answer your question, I'm sorry, it was
Yeah.
a really long to
No, you're
get there.
good. You're good. You're good. For me personally, ghosts, you just know. I just know it's just a regular ghost. However, when there is a once again true demonic entity, and I've only
Mhm,
encountered several of them, but I get dizzy and I feel like I'm going to pass out when one's
Mhm.
around, and that's how I
mhm,
know. I'm like, oh crap. And actually Brandy and I encountered that here just a few months ago, in Mineral
Mhm.
Springs in Alton in the basement down there. And that was the first time in years I'd gotten dizzy, and I grabbed Brandy really quick. I'm like, Brandy, there's a demonic entity down here. I guarantee it. Because I don't get this way. And so we stayed down there for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. I was just standing there because I'm not out looking for, I'm not going to interact with a demonic entity knowingly.
right, right.
And we ended up going back upstairs and doing, I don't know, this other thing. And other people said it come through. What did it come through, Brandy? And it did say that there was a demonic entity in the basement, and people had talked about that before. And honestly, I didn't know that, but I
A
got dizzy,
human
and
pendulum.
yeah, that's right. And
Okay.
I had to hold on to Brandy the whole time I was in the basement. I came upstairs, I was okay.
Yeah, well, and we were sitting there and we're discussing it. And she's telling me how she feels because we have to do that with each other, so so we kind of get a
Yeah,
grasp on what's happening. So
yeah.
she's telling me how she's feeling, and then I turn around and I'm straightforward to it because I will never turn my back on one, never, never, never. So
Mm,
I'm facing it, and next thing you know, we hear a growl, and I went, yep, okay, yep, all
yep.
right.
You're like,
Here we go. Like,
confirmation right
here we
there.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm fortunate my
Krista, so
body's healthy.
you're basically a biosensor.
Well, when I do the demonic cases with a friend of ours, he
Mhm.
he that's why I go, because they run from him. I can find them, and that's what I do. That's my job when I do these demonic cases. Is I find them for him, so it works out.
Yeah, man. I mean, because I mean, because that's kind of what happens to me when
Mhm.
when I kind of come into certain situations and feeling,
Yeah.
energies. So yeah, I get it. I get
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's always,
You have to listen to your
the
body.
nasty spirits, that are human spirits that are nasty. They don't do that to me. So that's how I know, okay, you're a human,
Yeah.
you walk this earth at one time,
Right. Right.
so we deal with you a different way.
Right. Now,
Right, right.
do you guys cross over spirits? Do you guys do that or
I do
I
no?
not.
No, I do not either.
Mm-mm.
I feel like you can offer it to them and help them.
Mhm.
Like we tell our clients, we can't make them
Right.
go to the other side. You
Yeah.
know, we can tell them to go to the light if they choose to do so,
Right.
but no,
It's
no, we
their
don't.
choice,
Yeah,
100%.
it's basically just telling them, hey, the light is there. You can go if you
Yep.
want to. You know, we don't do anything like that to cross
Yeah.
No.
them over. I mean, I have strong beliefs in that myself anyway, so I don't. I do not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, if I don't know. I mean, I know what happens to Amber a lot, I mean, they'll come to her for the help. So that's
Right.
like a
Hmm.
little bit of a different
That's
situation
Different.
different.
where they're
Yes.
coming to her for her
Right.
Right.
assistance to
Right.
help with things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but when you're going into especially if you know that it's a haunted location,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
some
Yeah.
places don't even allow you to do that,
Right. Well, we
you
we
know?
do, like if the homeowner, wants a cleansing or something like that,
Yeah.
I have no
Mhm.
problems doing a cleansing on a
Yeah.
home or a location. But, and I always tell them, like, I can't guarantee nothing's set in stone that they're
Exactly.
going to go. We can't make
Mhm.
them leave. However, you know, a lot of times, and we've done this several times, let's make agreements with them. You ask them, to leave
Yep.
your child alone, give them a room in the basement, give them the den, or, and a lot of times, that works,
And
it's
it
all
does
about
work.
intention. Yeah.
It does work, and
Mhm.
just, like, kinda giving boundaries to them, like,
Right. Right.
you can be here, but you can't be there, and, like, yeah, I mean, it does. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a few in the backyard out there that I know Amber has a lot in her yard, and I've
Yeah.
got a few myself, so I
Well,
just
Yeah.
tell them, "If you don't wanna cross over, then that's okay, but you can't
right.
stay here."
Right.
So
That's what makes me kind of crazy though about hearing the whisper in my ear, because
Mhm.
I do have some things in my home, and Krista knows, and that's a long story, and that's another show. Um, so they know that my room is basically, my bedroom is off limits. You can
Yeah.
wander, you can play, you can do whatever you want, but not in the bedrooms. The bedrooms are off limits. My
Off
bedroom, my
limits,
mother's bedroom,
right.
my daughter's bedroom, they're off limits. You can't go in those. But when I heard that in my ear, I'm like, uh-oh,
You're like, what's that
this is
about?"
somebody
Yeah.
new. Yeah, this is somebody new.
Exactly, somebody brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
don't know the rules yet.
So I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
even doing a cleansing, if you're not following that up with iron or tourmaline or obsidian, if you're not following up to
Mhm.
block the doorway, they
Right.
can come back in. you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you're gonna have to keep re-cleansing. The best thing to do is cleanse and protect.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I know that Amber has a couple of spirits that actually they help her enforce her rules. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
she will call upon them to kinda, like, escort somebody out if need be, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like she really does, like, she has a couple that actually help her in that way,
yeah, that's awesome.
so yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
you're not, I mean, it's kind of like everybody has to obey the rules here. You know what I mean?
right,
Like everybody,
right. Yep.
but I,
And
but
and I always tell our clients, if someone's good in life, and I like to believe most people are
Mhm,
good,
mhm,
that they're good in death. So just because your door opened up by itself doesn't mean it's a demon, because
mhm.
as people, that's the first thing they go towards, and try
Yeah,
to,
it is.
calm them
Right.
down, opponents down that way too, that,
Right.
these were human beings too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's just that, Hollywood has a lot of
Right.
us kind of that our first instinct is like, that
Yeah.
fear, it's terror actually for a lot of
Yeah.
people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They're
Yep.
like, "Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, what the heck is this?" I
Yeah.
mean, I brought home something that was negative from New Orleans with me one time,
Wow.
and many
Oh,
years ago. And
that's sweet.
I didn't know what the heck to do, and I was like,
Right.
searching on the internet. I'm like, "What?" And then that's when I kinda came, to learn how to, smudge and things like
Right.
that, and,
Right.
Right.
you know
Mhm.
so, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, but there's always still that possibility that something can,
Yeah.
follow us home or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's still not 100%. No
No,
matter what you do, it's not
right.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, especially, if you're dealing with demonic too, it's kind of like they won't go after you. If you're the target, they won't go after you first. They won't. They'll
Mhm,
go after everyone around you. They will
mhm.
break you. They will do anything they can to get to
Yes,
you, but they
the
have to break you
room.
down first. So you welcome them to you because they
Right.
can't take you without,
They, they will
without
say
you
that.
saying, okay.
However, there
Mhm,
was a case that I did do, and this person said something that I'd done many years ago, not proud of. How did this person know this? So they, yeah, and I know, and my friend that was there, he said it don't become the victim, be strong,
mhm,
and I did it because it just caught me off guard, and
mhm.
yeah, so they will do everything they can to break anybody down around that is trying to help the person that they
That
have
is
oppressed or possessed or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
wow. Yeah,
Yes.
it's gotta be
You know, that,
careful.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's why, you'll hear a lot of stories. And Lorraine Warren were famous for
Mhm,
documenting these, where the demonic entity will go after the children first.
Mhm.
They'll go after the children. And
mhm.
it's not that they're possessing them or anything, but they are definitely, tearing them up. So the parent will break down and say, leave them alone, take me.
Take me,
That's what it comes
right.
down to. Take me.
And
Yeah.
they just invited, the
Yep.
demonic have to be
Mhm.
invited in, and they just invited that demonic
Yep.
entity into them. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Wow.
So
It can be a dangerous thing.
it
Yeah.
is, it's very dangerous. And,
Mm,
it's not anything. I mean, I'll be honest with you, anytime I've went to knowing it's a potential demonic type case, you know, it's nothing I'm looking forward to, and you got to
right.
prepare yourself mentally, you got to be physically well, you got
Mhm,
to, I personally drink a lot of water. I stay away from the caffeine,
mhm.
before that, and eat good. You don't want to eat a bunch of carbs. And
There's a
as silly
lot
as
that
it
goes into
sounds,
it.
yeah, yeah. To go in there, you have to be right to deal with
Mhm,
something like that. And you also have to know, for me personally, I believe in God, and God is my higher power. God has my
mhm.
back,
Yeah,
and you know that and you believe it going in.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
saved me, so
That's
far.
amazing.
Hmm.
So, let's switch gears a little bit here. So,
Hmm.
let's talk about the LBL. The land between the legs.
Well,
Oh,
you
So
need to come up and go with us, Marty.
oh, yes. You need to come.
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder, and I've thought about it, and I thought, I wonder if I would have feel the same physical feelings if there was a dog man someplace around, if I, the
Hmm.
way I can kind of sense a Sasquatch, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there, I don't know.
I
It's,
bet you would.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
seriously
bet you
bet
would
you
too.
would. Yeah.
Mhm.
The LBL, when you just, it's a huge place. It's huge.
Mhm.
And as soon as you step or just go into that ground, the whole energy changes. They make
Yes,
it
it
look like,
does.
oh, there's boating and swimming and camping, great family time. But I'll tell you what, it's a lot of negativity. There is everything, and I'm not
Yes.
talking about just the killing, but they took
Yeah.
these people's homes, and the cemeteries were washed over, and just all this despair and heartache. It's all there in the land. And then the trace goes through there. So how many people died going down that trace?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just the
I
land
mean,
itself is tainted.
yeah, it was the town of Birmingham. It is Birmingham, Kentucky, I believe. And
Yeah.
anyway, so the town was there, but then they wanted to flood it over and do something for electricity, blah blah blah, dam, the whole 9 yards. So they exhumed some of the bodies out of the cemetery and moved them, but the ones that had no family or anything, they just left them there. And the tombstones are still there. During the winter time when the water's low, you can actually take a boat and see the top of some of them still there.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah. It's just
Whoa.
a sad, sad place. And then you add in, the killings and the missing people,
Yeah.
that it's not right. And I would bet you anything, if you stepped on that land blindfolded, you would feel off. You would
Mhm,
know it's
mhm.
not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The
so
first time Chris and
sad,
I went, yeah, the first time Chris and I went, we definitely felt off. Um, I was just driving the car. Krista was in the passenger seat. We both
Mhm.
started having the same symptoms at the same time. My eyes started watering, my nose started running. It was like started coughing. It was like I couldn't see. It like if you know how you are sitting by a
Wow.
campfire and the smoke blows in your
Mhm.
face and and
Yeah,
you can't
yeah, and
that
that's
you definitely got that feeling and you just couldn't breathe really. You just couldn't breathe. It was very strange. And
Yeah.
by the time
now
we got to
did you get
but
that feeling like the entire time you were there, you kind of, like, felt that way the entire time, or,
oh
like,
yeah.
just when you kinda
Yeah.
got
Uh,
there?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It
For
got to the point where I got there and my headache was so bad by it and what was it like 10 miles, 7 miles in
Oh, you
and
hadn't even gotten there yet.
no,
yeah.
we just pulled in and it
Yeah.
Holy
started
cow.
immediately.
Yeah.
Both of us at the same time.
Well, what was really weird is so this past weekend, I went to the LBL, and Friday night we went to the kill site, and we seen we heard a disembodied voice. There was a whistle. There,
Mhm.
others had seen orbs out in the woods, and then just that overwhelming feeling of being watched. So when we were walking out of the away from the kill site, you felt like something was following you. And where we had parked was up by a cemetery, and it's just that whole place is just so weird. Yeah, you and Amber should definitely, man. I'll message
Yes.
you definitely.
Yeah.
Because
Amber, we're so close. Amber, we can do a girls thing. We are
yep,
close.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's just it's I don't know how to describe the place. I mean, I think
Mhm.
the first time when we went with Brandy, we seen these figures like looking out from behind trees, and then they would go
Mhm,
back. So that
mhm,
to me was, I can't tell you if it was a Bigfoot, a dogman, or even a shadow person.
Mhm.
We couldn't tell. And then we would see the orbs.
Yeah.
And then, this last time seeing the orbs, I didn't see any figures or anything, but you could hear something around us. And like I said, that
Were you,
overwhelming
like,
feeling.
in the woods, you were hearing something around
Yeah,
you? Like around the
yes,
oh, wow.
yes. And then
It's crazy.
when we went up to we were up at the cemetery, on the other side of the road, we heard something really, really loud in there. And then they would shine the lights and there's nothing there. So
Wow.
it was the strangest thing. And then I was running some EVPs at the kill
Mhm,
site. And
mhm,
I even asked some questions about, the killing and if it was Dogman, the whole 9 yards. And then it was on, the recorder was on. I went up to the cemetery and did some more EVPs up there. So the next day we went to listen to it, and then another gal that was with us, she was recording on her phone,
mhm.
and the files from the recorder were gone, disappeared. Those two were gone. Everything else that he had on there was still there, and hers that she had recorded that night of me doing the EVPs
Uh-huh.
disappeared, gone.
Wow. From 2 totally completely different devices, same
Yep.
file gone.
Yes. Yep. I can't explain that.
So wild.
Yeah. So
So
either
I wonder,
something.
like, I wonder since you're able to kind of like sense like, like demonic entities, that kind of thing. I wonder if I mean, have you kind of been anywhere where there's supposedly like portals or anything like that? Like, can you sense those types of things?
I personally, at the LBL, have not run into anything like that. I know they're out there, but I personally have not run into any type portals or anything,
Yeah.
like that.
That's
However, I
what I
will
was
say about the land Saturday. So Saturday, Letitia took me over to the horse camp. There's a horse
Mhm.
camp down there, so we were getting information about that because I have horses. And on the way back, my head just started pounding. And so while everybody else went out on Saturday, they went to Hotel California and went up to Demumbers, and I stayed back in the cabin and slept because my head was just pounding. So I don't know if it was the land or the night before, or I have no
Right.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know I know Jessica and I experienced, when we had our experience that weekend in Georgia, and both of us, we were having pain and pounding, like,
yeah,
headache, and but Jessica had told me, and I never knew
yeah,
this. She said that, sometimes it's not necessarily like maybe the entities, like it's the psychic things that are happening. It's like whenever you're psychically connected, the after effects can sometimes you can have that issue.
yeah.
And if you try to eat something,
Hmm.
generally if it's coming, if it's from a
Yeah,
psychic episode, that eating will sometimes like really like
yeah,
squash it and like,
yeah.
break it,
I
like
just,
break that connection kind
yeah.
of thing.
I just felt awful. And then I called Brandy, and she's like, I'm telling you, it's where you're at. Look what happened to me last time. And I'm like, I
Right.
guess. I don't know. It
I,
was
I
just,
wasn't I wasn't feeling good, so I could we had rain coming in and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just not over this,
Yeah.
because like the weekend before, like we said, we went to Michigan. It dumped like 10 inches of snow while we were there.
Mhm.
And so and I just hadn't recovered from being sick, and I'm like, I just don't want to do that.
Right.
Because we got a lot of stuff coming up. I've got to, be tip top shape. So she did call me and she's like, I have got this terrible headache. And I said, yeah. It's like, I know exactly because when we went there the other time, it was me who had the headache. She said she was fine,
Huh.
yeah,
that everything cleared up.
Oh,
But then with me, I had the headache. And
right.
then now it was her this time with the headache, and nobody else had a headache.
I was gonna say, and no one else in the entire party had any effects or physical effects.
no,
Interesting.
No.
no. And you know what? And maybe a reason being because, everybody that we went with, nobody is really into the paranormal ghost side of things,
Mhm.
that side of things. So I don't know if that was why, because I'm more open to,
To
the ghost side of things, and they're not, so they weren't
or
real.
maybe you just or maybe you just have abilities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she does have that. Um, well, because we were discussing it. I mean, whenever we have to part and do these things, by ourselves, we're
Mhm.
always on the phone together. It's kind of like we're still together, but we're on the
Right,
phone.
right.
So, we're talking and stuff, and I said, I said, look at all the blood that has went into the ground out there.
Yeah.
It's like it is just soaked it up. It's
Mhm.
in the ground, and the ground is tainted. And
Hmm.
so, so the paranormal side of it is just as much,
It's
it's prevalent. I mean, it is there because
Yeah.
we were seeing orbs. Not only were
Hmm.
we seeing orbs, everyone around us was seeing orbs, and
what type of
they were
orbs were they?
they,
Were they
What's that, Marty? I'm sorry.
what type of orbs did you guys see? Were they like the like small ones? Are we talking like UFO
all
kind
different
of like orb
sizes.
type thing? Wow.
The one that I particularly seen with my own eyes was reddish orange, and it was the size of a beach ball, and it was just coming on down through the hillside.
Mhm.
Wow.
Not very fast. It was just kind of meandering down the hillside. And then several people saw white orbs. And then that night that we were there, Barton was filming Martin Groves tell his encounter out there. And at the
Mhm.
17-minute mark on his video, you can actually see a white orb. He captured it while he was
Yep,
filming Martin Groves.
yep,
Wow.
Yeah,
yep.
Wow.
And
Any
you got to
any
understand this wasn't a bug or anything like that. It was freezing out there. It was below freezing at this point when we're outside.
so it's
It's
like
yeah.
below
there's
freezing.
nobody out there running around
No,
and yeah.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. It
Any
was below freezing, so there's no bugs there's we couldn't catch a reflection off a bug or anything, and we were all sitting still
Mhm.
because we were trying to be quiet because of course Martin Groves was telling his he was doing his
Right.
testimony. So we were all being quiet because if you've never heard of it, heard his story, you have to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's mind
mhm.
blowing.
Yeah.
But we
I
were all
did
just
invite
sitting
him
there
on my
just in
show,
awe.
but I did invite him several months ago to come on the show,
Mhm.
but he never messaged me back. So, I don't know. There's always hope, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
never
I
know.
he's got a lot of stuff going on with his other book and stuff coming out too.
Yes,
So
yes.
Busy
yeah,
guy, busy guy.
yeah.
What about Sasquatch activity? Did you guys see or hear like any Sasquatch stuff going on while you were there? Because I know a
So
lot of researchers go there for Sasquatch.
right. The only thing that I could say the first time was seeing those figures peek out and then go back. And then they would, peek
Uh,
out and then go back behind the tree. That would be the only like cryptid type thing I could say that
and you
possibly could be.
and then but didn't you also say that there was a whistle or something?
Yeah,
You heard a
yes,
whistle?
yes. There was a
Wow.
whistle. It was very high pitched, one
Mhm.
tone, and it just went "Boot," and it was done.
Yeah,
And that's how,
I that happened to me in Torreya, and I actually put it on my channel, but I tried to boost the audio as much as
mhm,
I could, but I don't have like professional equipment. So
yeah,
it's on my channel. If you put your earbuds in and you listen, you will you'll hear it.
yeah,
But yeah, we had the same thing. It was just like a whoo, like a
mhm,
and that was it,
yeah.
And it was yeah. So I've
And
I've heard
that's
those
what they also heard this past Friday night out there at the kill site too,
oh
was a
wow.
whistle. So yeah, so as far as cryptid, that and then just the here like
That's
being watched and being followed, for sure.
that yeah, that you feel the eyes on you kind of thing.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Now the first time we were out there when Brandy was there, she actually saw eye shine and there wasn't
Yes,
any light shining that way or, anything like that. So
yeah. Because we were sitting up on kind of a hill, and then it went down, and then it came way back up over here, and then on
mhm,
the other side of this ravine, It's like you just seen it, and it made me stand straight up out of my pocket, where out of the chair I was sitting in, and I'm in my pockets, and I'm trying to grab my phone, anything. I don't know what I was looking for. I was so
Oh my
excited I couldn't.
God.
I'm trying to grab for any equipment, couldn't grab nothing. Knocked my
Holy
chair over,
cow.
but it was. I can't wait to get out there again and do it.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's sometimes there's just those places where I don't know. I'm telling you, girls, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know.
you
You
could.
can,
You
you
could.
can.
Yeah, you could.
I would just be, I don't know. I'm telling you, the one night that we were with Jessica and I, the second that my feet hit the ground, I literally thought I was gonna pass out. Like, it was just
Mhm.
so much energy, and it was so intense and
Yeah.
swirling around me, and I could feel it, and I was dizzy, and I
Mhm.
was nauseous, and you know, um,
That's how the LBL is. And, you know, you definitely, like, on my way there, I did, protection exercises. And then when
mhm,
we were in the one guy that was there, his truck going to the kill site, I'm doing my meditation in my head, and, to keep myself protected and grounded. And, you definitely have to keep doing that out there.
yeah. Every 5 seconds, I would think.
Yeah, you definitely
You
have to
know what
stay
I mean?
vigilant.
There's not a second, man. It's kinda like you take a step and put up a
Yeah.
protection, and take a step and put up a protection.
Right. Right.
Holy
Yeah, it's
cow.
just the only thing bad about the LVL, in if you watch anybody's videos on it right now, um, the leaves are terrible. So when you're trying to record
Mhm.
anything, all you're hearing is the crunching of the leaves, and you
Mm.
know, uh, that's why I just I don't even like having my equipment out there. I just want to leave it
Yeah.
alone because I don't want to fiddle with it or play with it. I want to be able to pay attention and focus. And
Yeah,
and
because
and
well, when you're in a place like that, there's a lot going on. It's not
Mhm.
yeah,
like, your
yeah.
head's gotta be on a swivel for sure.
Yeah.
You've gotta be, every minute, like, what's going on? If you're seeing orbs, you're seeing, s tree peekers, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're feeling ill because something is going on. Like, there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
there's the cemetery and the place under the water, and, that's a lot. That's a
And
lot
I'll tell you
going
what,
on.
there's a lot of cemeteries out there. You wouldn't believe the
Mhm.
amount of just small little cemeteries at the LBL. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
definitely a sad, sad place.
Yeah, and for me being an empath, like,
Mhm.
when I'm in those kind of environments where there's been a lot of
Yeah.
sadness, a lot of death, or a lot of, like,
Mhm.
when it hits me, it's like a wave.
Yeah.
You just feel it head to toe, and you're so, like, there's been
Yeah.
times where, there's times when something things like that happen to me, when it, I'll just burst into tears.
Mhm.
If it's something that's impacting me, and and I'm
Yeah.
feeling it that deeply, and it's that
Right.
strong, yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely had those times where I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I couldn't contain myself," like,
Yeah,
Right.
that
crying.
happened to me one time. One time it happened like that where it got the best of me, and I
Yeah.
just wasn't prepared for it. And from then on, um, now it's just like second nature. It's like I
Yeah.
shut that down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you where it happened was Waverly Hills Sanitarium.
Mhm.
The overwhelming sadness that
Mhm.
came over me when I was there was it was just oh, it was just
Yeah.
bad. And I
Wow.
wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared. But ever
Yeah.
since that time right there, now every time I go anywhere, it's like, okay, I'm ready. You have to
Mhm.
prepare yourself, but
Yeah.
you can do it. You can shut it down.
Yeah. Well, Amber
Yeah.
was messaging me because I guess she was kind of picking up on some things. Um,
Cool.
so I said, "Hey, you want to come on?" And so, hi, Amber.
Hi,
Hello.
Amber.
You're
I think she has
muted.
her mic on. Yeah.
Yeah, there
Hello.
you go.
Hey, how are
Hello.
you?
How are y'all doing?
Good. Haven't got to talk to you in a while.
Yeah.
So, Amber, what were you picking
Yeah,
up on?
they
They
fixed my
were.
internet yesterday, but I think it's still kind of lagging.
Ah,
I just when y'all were talking about the LBL, I just kept seeing this dark-haired woman been shot in the head.
Wow.
Let me
Wow.
write it down.
do you know about how old she was, Amber? Her age?
Um, I mean, she didn't look old. Like to me, like teenager type. I mean,
Do you
but I
know
just kept
Amber,
seeing her and like she was screaming, and then she just got blasted in the head. So
do
then I
you
looked it up, and I sent that to you.
was it when we were talking about our first trip there or the second trip there? I only asked that because we were at two different locations out there.
I think I'm lagging a little bit. I'm sorry, my internet is so bad right now. It just what I was trying, focusing on the LBL. That's just what
Okay,
I picked
gotcha.
up on. I'm not sure exactly where at there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
Krista, I mean, we can dig back. We can go back to that cemetery that you were close to, where you parked next to, and
Yeah.
I can dig that history up of that particular cemetery and see what we can find.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, we'll just
Amber,
have
did
to get
she
the
look?
name of it.
Yeah, did she look what kind of clothes did she have on? Like current day or like 60s, 70s maybe? Like
No, the picture I sent you, like when I looked it up really quick, it was the woman on the left. That's the one I saw.
okay. Um
I didn't pick up on the other one. I don't know if they were killed in two different locations or like two separate times.
Hmm. Huh.
okay. I'll send it to you ladies. I'll message you
Okay.
what she sent me.
Yeah. Especially, the cemetery that I was at Friday night, there was everything. There was Civil War, to, newer stuff too. So,
Mhm.
yeah, you just never know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always, the history. It's hard to kind of like you never know when there's like that the LBL goes, I mean, the history is
Yeah.
hundreds of years old. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
Right.
decades, but hundreds of years. So
Yeah.
you never know what you're going to come across.
No, you don't. Like I said, that land is so tainted, and then the trace goes through there. So no telling what happened, lots of sadness and death happened there.
Yeah. But that's
So,
I mean that's what we need to do, though, is go back to that particular cemetery and see if we can't find some death dates and birth dates that will match a younger woman, and then we'll just start researching names, and
Mhm.
I'll have to track it. But yeah.
a lot of old graves. It was even hard to read a lot of the headstones.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Very sad
So,
place though.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's kind of, I don't know. That's why one of the things I don't like to do. I mean, it's not that I'm afraid of cemeteries. I'm not afraid of them, but it's just there's so much
Hmm.
at once. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how Amber does it. Like it's for me it can be super overwhelming to the point where
Yeah.
I'm just like debilitated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like physically because I'm
Hmm.
overwhelmed with so much energy and so many energies and I it gets overwhelming. Like sometimes I go
Yeah.
to the grocery store, I'm all like by the time I come home, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the grocery store. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
That's
just
me
so
at
I
many
get it.
Walmart.
people.
Yeah, that's me at
Yeah.
Walmart every time. It doesn't matter if I'm prepared or not. By the time I leave there, I
Yeah,
keep
you're
telling
like
myself
done,
I'm never
right?
going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah. I used to hate Black Fridays. My sister-in-law would be like, "Oh, let's do Black Friday." I'd be like, "No, I
No,
don't want to do Black
no,
Friday,
I'm with
please.
you.
Too much, too much."
Yeah, there, like I said, there's just so much out there and so many different cemeteries too.
Mm.
I don't doubt that, somebody could have been shot out there in the head easily.
Absolutely. Yeah, easily. And especially if you're talking 50, 70 years ago, absolutely. Anything could have happened. Yeah.
Well, is it very, like, isolated? Is the air is I mean, because I've never been there, so is it, like, super isolated area? Like, people could go out there to kill somebody and be like, "Oh, this will be a perfect place to take them because nobody will find them because it's so, like."
So, so what it is, you have the main road that runs through the whole place.
Mhm.
And then there's all these little side roads. Some you can go by on car, some you have to walk. They're no longer, you cannot get to them any longer by vehicle. So it just, yeah, it's huge. You could get lost out there very, very easily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And not
Yeah.
come across
And yeah,
anybody.
could you take somebody out there? Yes, you could. Yes, you
Mm.
could take
Yeah.
somebody out there and nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
Letitia, thank you. She says she's
So,
gonna talk to Martin. See, you never know.
Yeah. Yep.
Never Um, hold on one second. We do have if anybody wants to ask questions, definitely put them in caps for me. I just happened to look over and see this, and if I missed anybody's, I'm sorry. Al Santariga, he says, "So Krista, you're saying if you get dizzy, it's demonic."
For me personally, that's how my body reacts to the demonic. Yes.
well, she gets
Yeah.
physically ill. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
And
um,
that's how it starts. I get dizzy. I feel like I'm going to pass out. And then, yeah,
mhm.
but I
Yeah.
don't, my body just reacts differently when they're around, and like I've
Mhm.
said, I've only experienced just a handful of them. It's, they're
Right.
few and far between. So, and up until here a few months ago, I had not experienced that since the last demonic case I did. And that was back in like 2018. So
Right.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's
I did not get any of that at the LBL. I didn't get dizzy or anything like that
No,
there.
no. We
hmm.
just couldn't see or breathe.
Yeah, those are a little
That's
kind of a
okay.
little bit important, just a little bit.
Especially
Just a
when you're
Yeah,
driving.
just a
yeah,
bit. Yeah, yeah. And when you're the driver, yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
But I do have to say this though. Chris and I kind of filmed our way out. I was driving and she was filming, because it takes a while to get out of there. So she was filming on the way out. But do you know the overwhelming feeling of happiness
Mhm.
when we were leaving? It felt good. It was just like it's like every little mile was just like, oh, I feel better. I feel better. And then,
Right.
and then we were
Yeah, that's right.
laughing and cutting up all the way back to the house.
And you're like, "Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
We're
we
out. We made
well,
it."
But it
right.
it 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 wasn't even like we acknowledged that it was, uh,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It was just like, one minute we're like, "Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's get out of here." And the
Right.
next minute you're like, "Okay, let's cut up, have some fun." And it's like you didn't even notice the transition.
right.
Mm.
I didn't notice the transition at all.
Yeah,
It just
Wow.
kind of just went like this, and then next thing you know, you're up here having a good time. It was very strange.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And
Wow.
the one thing I do regret is nobody looked up in the sky. So
No,
because
no.
I believe all of these things, are intertwined, and
Mhm.
we didn't even think about that. We were looking in the woods and looking down. Nobody watched the sky, and I wish we should have. I wish we did, but we didn't. So next
Yeah,
time.
we sure didn't. We sure didn't. Well, there was a light show out there. I mean, you have all these things happening all at the same time, and there was 10 of us out there, and we were all experiencing different things.
Wow.
So it was just mind blowing. And then nobody thought to just go, hey, look up.
Yeah.
Nobody
Well,
did it.
yeah, because there's like everything at ground level that you're dealing with at that
Right.
point. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, what's peeking around this corner, that corner, where, you know, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Next time
I
we'll
wouldn't have looked up
appoint
either.
someone. Yeah.
I would have been like, I got to know if something's coming at me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with the first time we were there, we could hear something like coming towards us. And
Mhm.
Letitia actually got up and moved because her back was to the woods. So she
Yes.
moved and we all heard it. And then you shine the light and there's nothing, not a deer, a squirrel, nothing, So what was it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Did y'all
I
stay the
don't
night
know.
there?
See what?
The first time, no, we didn't. They had freezing rain coming in, so we didn't stay.
Yeah.
But I didn't go this last weekend, but they went, and yes, they did stay.
Hmm. We stayed in a cabin though this past time. So we
Yeah,
cheated. We
because of
didn't sleep in
the rain and everything,
a
because it was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, because it's still cold up there, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, I wouldn't be in the tent that cold either. No, no.
No. I personally wouldn't want to stay in a tent at the LBL myself anyway.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
don't think
No,
I would either.
no.
Yeah. The cabins are cheap to rent up there. So,
Oh, that's good to know. Amber, we have to get a cabin.
yep.
Yeah, because even a camper would be sketchy. It just really, for me, that would still be kind of
Yeah.
sketchy. I'm like, no,
And I want to
no.
be on the second floor.
Yeah. Well, these cabins are just like, you see the tiny houses.
Uh-huh.
That's what they
Oh, like
were.
that.
Yeah. The little tiny houses is what they were. There was
Oh.
no bathrooms in them. They had heat and air, and that was it.
Hey, as long as there's air conditioning, I
Oh
got
Yep.
Lord, so you gotta walk outside to pop a squat?
Yep. Well, they had bathrooms, but it was kind of a distance to walk. So I'm not gonna. We went behind the cabin and just squatted. Yeah.
Oh man. That's
Yeah.
well, I do have my portable toilet that I take camping with me.
There you go. Perfect.
There it is.
Yeah,
Yep. Problem solved.
there we go.
Yeah. Our biggest problem this past weekend was the
Are we
sun.
going, Marty?
We might have to, Amber. We may have to. We may have to.
You definitely could. And then you could say, you've been there. It's definitely a place that, you know, I definitely want to continue to go back. And I think if you guys went the one time, you'd be like, oh, we need to go back and, do this or do that or, find the answer to this or that,
Well, I definitely am not going there without somebody who has like I want to make sure I'm with people who know where they're at and where they're going
Yeah.
and all of that. I don't want to show up on David Pleise's next like documentary because
Right. Right.
another episode of Missing 411 in the
Yeah.
LBL or something.
Well, one of the things is, we all stay together. Nobody wanders. That's just
Yeah.
part of the rules. We all stick together, and even, there's safety in numbers. However, we're all seeing things, at the same time. So it's not like because you have a big group, nothing's going to happen. Sometimes with ghosts that can happen, but man, not at the LBL. It don't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we never walk off alone. And even Letitia and I use the buddy system going outside to go to the restroom and, that kind of thing at night. And
Yeah.
so,
One of you holds the gun while the other one goes to the
right,
ladies' room.
right. Well,
Here, you hold the weapon. Okay, your turn.
funny story. We were getting ready to go to bed Saturday night and we both had to go pee. She's like, well, let's go. And we went over there and we're both peeing and we both look up and probably 10 feet from us is a skunk. So we So we hurried up and pulled up our pants and yeah, that was scary because I did not want to get sprayed by a skunk.
Oh man. Oh
I
man.
wish I could have seen
But
that.
what a story if you had got sprayed.
Right?
Holy
My,
cow.
yeah, my family would hate me right now.
At least it was a skunk and nothing else.
Right? That's true. The very true.
True.
Yeah. So, but if you guys get a chance or want to come up, definitely, let us know.
Yeah. Amber, we may have to do that.
Yeah.
Because day trips are cool. Day trips are cool too.
I think we should.
Yeah.
That way you can look for prints and things like that. You know, you definitely can see that.
Yeah.
But Marty and Amber, you'll be interested to know there's a place called Hematite Lake,
Hmm.
and
Really?
there's hematite everywhere. Yep. So I think you'll feel really good if you could get out there and just
And get
stand for
in
a
that
while.
water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Yep.
There's beaches, so like during the day, you can swim or, do things like that too. So it's not just, strictly if you wanted to, do other things other than
There's
than
lots to
research,
do.
it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you guys so much. And thanks everybody in the chat tonight. I really appreciate everybody being here. You know, I'm struggling sitting here and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fidgeting and I'm gonna get there though. I'm gonna get this resolved. I'm gonna get it all figured out. I'm gonna get there. It's just my body just betrays me sometimes, but
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to
so
focus. It's hard to
yeah,
focus. Yeah.
yeah, it is a little bit. So we're gonna land this plane, and can you ladies stay for a few minutes
Yep.
backstage?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put you guys backstage. Give me one moment. Guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I'm so sorry. I really wish I could go longer. I just can't tonight. My apologies. Um, I will be back next week, and I'm sorry, guys. I can't even think right now. Next week, next Tuesday night, Brown Dwarf will be joining us, and we're gonna just have like a fun conversation with him. And so, with that, guys, thank you all for being here, and I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be posting some stuff on the community channel for you guys and things like that. And so, thanks, guys, and have a wonderful week. And I will catch you guys on the flip side.